Yo, quoting the King James Bible's Hebrews 13:4, marriage is honorable in all and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. Though I feel it's safe to say that any single woman who gets paid by a single man or men for her otherwise unwilling companionship is a whore, I don't want to say it about women who got married according to Scripture, but under dubious circumstances. Like Scripture says, John Wycliffe's 1382 translation of Matthew 7:1, damn not. And I won't call marriage a form of prostitution or one-shot prostitution like some have done, because according to Christianity, traditional marriage is clearly sanctified. Now, I will not fault women in third world countries that only marry for money to save themselves from being homeless or starving, since that is self-preservation. My United States, a land of plenty and opportunity, is much different. And I won't address this issue in regard to those out in the world, as they have other basic problems that must be dealt with first. And I'm not concerned with who someone committed to before they became a Christian. My concern is with church-going Christian believers who, considering their claims, should be held to a higher standard thereafter. And I cannot help but think certain things. Here are examples of women whom I have been acquainted with. Frida divorced a man because he was committing adultery, with whom she had one daughter. Okay, but what was surprising is her getting married to a man who never had showed up to church beforehand. After I brought this up, she admitted that she did so because her former above-average standard of living plummeted drastically. Before someone who might think that she did the right thing, know that she divorced this man shortly thereafter, moved in with her daughter, and life went on. Jennifer seemed to use an excuse for being single. For example, her claim of being dumped at the altar before her scheduled wedding and her supposed struggle to understand men so she could connect with them, evidenced by the types of books she displayed. But she showed no romantic interest in any man at church and conveniently avoided any chance of meeting me unless others were present. But after her roommate moved out so that she was stuck with the full rent, she quickly married an elderly man. Shortly after the man died, she married another elderly man. Mary's parents had died in an accident, so she was taken in by an older church-going man who was truly charitable. Now, Mary never dated, and she was not romantically involved with this man whatsoever. Now, the church leadership finally decided this had to stop, since it made it look like they were condoning a man and woman living in sin. Immediately after she was told she needed to move out, she proposed marriage to the man. Before someone might think that she did the right thing, know that the man said no, and she was easily able to move in with her brother and sister just at a higher share of rent. Patricia, a very attractive woman who was single at a later than expected age, had a high-level position at a company I worked at. Also, us employees were asked to fill out interesting personal information in a booklet as a social gesture. In it, I noticed that she listed Pretty Woman as her most favorite movie. It stars Julia Roberts, who plays a prostitute who then finds a wealthy man to marry. Sometime after, the company was involved in a scandal similar to the one Enron was in, so it collapsed, and so Patricia lost her job. Eventually, I ended up going to a church where she attended and served communion. Conveniently, she was married. Then we have the hundreds of thousands of Christian women who married non-Christian men and had children with them, while men are supposed to be the religious head of their marriage. This has often been to Jewish men who are known for money, and Jews consider Christ to be a dangerous impostor. Naturally, the numbers of non-religious people have gone way up, and those who retain forms of Christianity are compromised. Spotlighting these aforementioned cases is not a matter of judging just by appearance. It is judging righteous judgment, John 7:24, a character trait that is clearly base, dishonorable, and ignoble. To reduce men to cash machines because otherwise you would have hardship is not an excuse per Scripture. Jesus said, "If any would come after me, they must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for me will find it." Matthew 16:24-25, Mark 8:34-35, Luke 9:23-24. Having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. 1 Timothy 6:8. Endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. 2 Timothy 2:3. I don't remember ever hearing these passages mentioned in any church I've attended throughout the decades, including the most conservative ones around. I understand not marrying for love, but rather to marry so to produce children, and also to insist on finding a man who can financially support his wife and children. But these cases are neither motivated for love nor family. These women want to avoid the tramp label by masking their motivation with marriage. They essentially say, see, I'm sanctified by Scripture. That's trying to find a loophole to get off on a technicality. But Christianity addresses the heart in addition to the surface appearance. Besides, the church is supposed to provide for women who would be truly destitute. What churches must do is teach the finer points of Christianity and not back off in fear of offending women. And Christian parents should have cultivated within their daughters a healthy attraction to males beforehand, so such situations of using men just for money would not arise in the future. And if any women who have presented as Christian have then engaged in a money marriage, remove them from your social circle if they subsist within it, and cut off as much contact as is feasible. Or if said circle approves of that, remove yourself from it. Apathy toward a lower natured behavior allows an explosion of the behavior.